Hey, it's Logan here. Welcome to another video. And today I want to show you the exact process to create financial freedom through this amazing vehicle of network marketing. Now, it will be a little bit of a longer video, so make sure you are set up to watch this, watch it properly. You've got your pen and paper there to work along with us because we're going to go through a few things. But we also need to have a bit of an honest conversation before we even start, because we love to talk about residual income and financial freedom. It's a word that gets thrown around on the stage a lot and it sounds really exciting, and you talk about it at a big event and people cheer and clap, and it's obviously really cool. But the problem is we know that most people struggle to get there. Now, most people struggle to get there for a number of reasons, but one of the biggest reasons is that so many people get caught up in making money that they don't actually quite understand how to turn that into freedom. Now, making money is great, but it's not freedom. Money helps, but freedom is a measurement of time, a measurement of choice, all these sorts of things. So what I want to do is show you the process to create your income, build it up and grow it, and then turn that into financial freedom, because that's what we really want. No point making all this money if we're not actually creating financial freedom from it. So before I get to that, I just want to share a little bit more of my story. Now, if you've ever seen any of my other videos or anything like that, hopefully you know a little bit of my story and where we came from, how we started, how we got involved in this incredible industry and what it's been able to do for my wife and I. But I want to focus on one part of the story in particular, and that was, when I really started on this journey of how do I become financially free at 33. When I was 22, 23 years old and I was just graduated out of university. I was full of hopes and dreams and, big university HECS debt and all those sorts of things as well. But I was full of just life and, wet behind the ears, enthusiasm, all those sorts of things. And I'm like, I'm going to be financially free at 33. I've got 10 years to figure this thing out. So I was here, at this start point, and then there was this end goal here of freedom. Now, I'm sure for most of you watching, you're probably in a very similar situation. There's some start point here, and you want to get over to this financial freedom position. And the problem was, and what I figured out fairly quickly was the things I was doing to get here, essentially when, we're talking about property, we're talking about commodities, currency trading, like I was doing all these things, right? And they either required a lot of money to get started. I either needed money to buy the stocks, buy the currencies, buy the properties, all those sorts of things. And I had a good job and I had some money left over at the end of each week, but I wasn't going to be able to just create the $100,000, $200,000, $1 million I needed to be able to get from where I was over to financial freedom. So that left me with another option, which was to take on risk and do stupid things. And when you're 25 and single and a guy and you have an ego and all those sorts of things, you tend to sort of come here and you say, okay, I've been saving up. I've got $5,000, $10,000 spare. I'm going to go into the commodities market and turn that into $1 million. I don't need to follow the rules, like look at my risk or anything like that. I'm going to hit that grand slam home run in one go. I don't tell me anything about money management. I know more than Wall Street. Or, okay, I'm going to get into currencies and I'm going to turn this $5,000 into $1 million from one currency carry trade. Okay, I don't know if this sounds familiar, but this was me. And it was just before my 30th birthday, a couple of months before my 30th birthday, actually before, probably 6 months, where a friend was telling me about it. And I said no for a little bit, but it was just before my 30th birthday when I finally said yes to my friend. And we really started the network marketing just to lose weight. Like that was the goal, was to shred for the wedding. I needed to just lose a few kilos before the wedding. And that's how we got started. But very quickly I realized something, and all these failures I'd had in my 20s, all these mistakes I'd made, I had taken experience out of them. I had educated myself along the way. And what I discovered was that actually network marketing isn't financial freedom. Network marketing is the best stepping stone on the way to financial freedom. It is the best middlewoman on the way to this financial freedom, because everything else here was too big a leap. It was too hard to see myself going from making 100 grand a year minus expenses, you got a few $1,000s left over at the end of it all. Turning that into financial freedom wasn't going to happen. But with network marketing, I could create cash flow. And everything else required a lot of money even to get cash flow. I had a physio small business and a partnership there that required a lot of money to create cash flow. I had to work very hard to create cash flow in my job and in my career. In network marketing, I could create cash flow very quickly. I could create profitable cash flow very quickly. I think of all the university debt I had here, and then when I was in my small business, all the small business debt and small business expenses that had burdened to me, and I needed to be making $100,000+ a year just to sort of pay all these expenses. Here, I could get started for $500 and be profitable straight away. I had an income producing asset. And then I could use that income producing asset to buy other income producing assets. So I could start to create a wealth loop where I was able to use the cash flow from our network marketing business to then buy income producing assets, which were stocks and property for us, use the income from there, the cash flow from there to reinvest into your business, reinvest into yourself, and reinvest into more income producing assets. And then you start having a loop happening, a snowball effect, where your money is giving you more money. And when your money is buying you money, and your money is then buying you the money to buy more money because you can buy more assets that give you more money, and you create this wealth loop, that's when you have freedom. And that's really cool. That's really exciting. So too often we can get caught up in this, all right, I'm in network marketing, I'm going to get straight over here to get financial freedom. What we want to do is say, right, I've got to create some cash flow. I'm going to create cash flow. Then I'm going to put that cash flow to work. And once I put that cash flow to work, I can create a wealth loop and I can create financial freedom. So let me show you the exact 4-step process on how to do that right here, right now. Now, with each step, there's a couple of main skills we need to master, and I'll talk about that as well. So it's really not that hard. The key and the warning, the caveat right here, right now, is that there's only 4 steps, 2 skills at each step. That's 8 skills you need to learn, okay? Let's not just, oh, I don't need skills 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to go straight to 5, 6, 7, 8, right? Okay, let's do this properly. We're going to build a rock solid foundation so that we don't just become this little fly-by-night, get-rich-quick person and that it all falls apart. The house of cards absolutely collapses, okay? 4 steps, let's do them properly because we need to learn steps 1 and 2 so that we can teach them to others as well, in particular. When it comes to steps 1 and 2, when we go into step 3 is all about teaching others steps 1 and 2. And you can't teach what you haven't learned yourself, what you haven't experienced, what you haven't developed. So let's talk about financial freedom. Now, again, if we just rewind to where I was in those early 20s and I was determined to be financially free at 33, what do? You go out and you educate yourself. And I did some stupid things as well, but I was spending a lot of time at the library reading a lot of books. Now, I'm sure you've all heard of the classics, Richest Man in Babylon, Think and Grow Rich, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Now, Rich Dad, Poor Dad especially, I really loved that one. It really helped me, but it was the cash flow quadrant, so Kiyosaki's second book, that really made the difference for me. And I'm sure you've seen this before. We're going to go through it super quickly. So we can be in these quadrants. We can be an employee, we can be self-employed, we can be a business owner, or we can be an investor. Now, Robert Kiyosaki talks about how 95% of people are stuck over here. We want to get over to this side. Now, again, in my real world life, I started as an employee. Yes, I could create an income fairly well, and that's great. That's great to be able to just go into, after university, go into a job that pays you quite well, quite quickly. That's awesome. Then I moved into small business and I was able to create leverage where I had staff and these staff worked for me. So it wasn't just me trying to see 15 to 20 patients a day. It was our staff and the clinic seeing 100 patients a day. But I could never quite get over to here where it started to just run itself. Still needed to be here every day, having my finger on the pulse. And I was getting frustrated. Now we were, again, trickling some money over into here, into the investments, but we were never going to be able to get these investments off the ground fast enough to a point where we could be financially free at 33. So I had to figure out a different way. Now, when I saw network marketing, what I realized was if I could take this quadrant and I could actually just look at it slightly differently, okay? And not look at it from an employee, small business, self-employed, business investor point of view, but actually how the income works. So as an employee, you have an active income. You do X, I pay you Y. You show up this many hours, you get this many dollars, right? It's very much you do X, you get Y, okay? And then there's the seesaw. If you want more time, okay, well, you're going to get paid less. If you want to get paid more, you're probably going to get less time because at the end of the day, it's an exchange. Time for money, service, processes, and you get paid a certain amount at the end of each week. Now, we can then move into small business, self-employment, where we can start to create leverage. We can have off-siders, we can have staff, we can have apprenticeships, we can have assistants, people who help us create more leverage. Again, I could see 15 to 20 patients a day. The clinic could see 100. So I could create 5 to 6 times leverage by having the clinic there, and that allowed me to leverage my time more. That allowed me to create more income. The problem was there are a lot of expenses. There's a lot of expenses when you're running a clinic, when you're running a small business. I don't know if you've ever done it. When we get over into business is when we actually get into this residual income side of the coin. Now, the residual income is really exciting, and obviously it's one of the big selling points of network marketing. The problem is we don't always show people actually how to get to here. We're really good at showing people how to launch and sell, really good at telling them how to systemize and duplicate, and I'm going to run you through those things. But we're not always great at what's the differentiator here. What's the actual differentiating skill, and what's the 2 things in particular that you need to master to make sure you get over here on the other side of the coin. And then finally, we have our passive income, which is what will really help us create a true legacy, what will really help us make sure that the money we're earning is going on to the generations. And it's not just about what Angie and I can make, it's about what can we leave behind for the children as well. What can we leave behind for the grandchildren that are, hopefully 10, 15, 20 years away yet. Hopefully we'd love to have grandchildren, obviously, but also our kids are still, just hitting teenage years. So we don't want them for a little bit. But what we want to do is to make sure that we actually show people this whole process rather than just, hey, just sell, because all we're doing here at this point is making money. Making money is great, but it's not freedom. So let's look at this top left-hand corner, this active income, and let's look at the 2 key skills that we need to make sure that we can go through step 1. So the key thing we want to do here is we need to learn how to sell. Because if we sell, we get an active income. Now, the 2 key skills, pretty obvious. 2 key skills to start your network marketing business are how to network and how to market. Pretty obvious, right? Very simple, but not easy. Now, the good thing is that these 2 are quite interchangeable, so we can talk about them very much as one skill in this case, but we need to know who we are, how can we attract people similar to us, people with similar goals, with similar needs, with similar desires, and what can we say to them to help them want to purchase our product. Because we can network and be really popular, and that's great, that's awesome, but we also need to actually make sure that the people want what we have. So what we want to look at is we want to look at a few things. So, okay, well, who am I? So what's my brand? What's my niche? Okay, my avatar, however you want to talk it, whatever you've learned in a sort of marketing parlance. But at the end of the day, who am I as a brand? Okay, I am Andrew Logan. I'm a dad. I consider health and fitness very important. I love to travel. I love to have time. I like to watch football with the children. I like to do these sorts of things, and I like to help people create more time and freedom in their life. They are all the things about me. It's about family, it's about marriage, it's about health, it's about happiness, it's about freedom, it's about choice. They're the things that really resonate with me. Now, a lot of people just sort of get stuck there. This is my brand and I want to be all about happiness. That's great, but we want to actually help people with their problems too. Now, what does the market need is the next question. So if I'm going to market something, the best thing is to really find out what do they need. So what do other parents need? What do other families need? What are the things that our market actually wants? What would our market pay for? What are their needs? We need to know these things and we want to figure them out. So for us, for Angie and I, it was about how do we show parents how to have more time with their children? How do we show busy parents how to stay healthy around the life of, raising kids and working and doing all those sorts of things? These were the things that our market needed. So it's about who are we and what does our market want? Now, the great thing is that we can be really specific here. We get to choose who we speak to, what we say and who we speak it to. Now, the key here, of course, is making sure that there's an alignment here, that there's a congruency here, that there's an authenticity here. Because I could sit here and say, well, there's a market out there of mums who need to lose weight after their baby, but I'm a dad. Do they really want to listen to me or would they prefer to listen to my wife? That's a brand my wife could certainly take because she's been through that process multiple times. Me, I haven't. I've sat on the sidelines and I've watched it, but I haven't actually been in there. I haven't had to deal with the struggles, the pain that happens when you have a child. So is that a brand that I should really take on? Oh, there's a market here, like there's a red hot blue ocean market here that I can dive in? Or should I say, no, who am I? I'm a dad who wants to stay fit and healthy so he can run around and kick a footy with his kids. All right, my market. Where are my dads who also want to do that? Where are my dads who also want to lose beer without having to lose the beer belly without having to give up the beer, have more energy without having to go to the gym? They just want more energy so they can run around with the kids. And from that, I'm going to create an offer. So what can I offer my market that is part of my brand and resonates with who I am, because they can look at me as someone who understands their pain. And when we get, and hopefully I've drawn them nice and there we go. When we get this holy trinity here, this is what we can sell. And this is awesome because this is what we can offer to people. We just need to do a little bit of research. We just take a little bit of time rather than just run out there and tell everyone just all the things, all the crazy things, right? And just verbally vomit on people. Let's just take a moment and say, okay, who am I? I love to CrossFit. I love to exercise, right? My market, I've got CrossFitters who want better recovery. Okay, what if I can show CrossFitters how to get better performance and higher scores by improving their recovery so that they can go back and train harder day after day? I can create that offer. Who am I? I'm a dad, again, someone who wanted to lose weight for their wedding but still wanted to enjoy, the social life leading up to weddings and all the things that happen before your wedding. What if I can show like future husbands, potential husbands, how to lose weight for the wedding, again, without having to live at the gym or lose the beers? One of the things I love to talk about, the reason I love to create these sorts of videos is actually showing people how to create financial freedom. Now, the vehicle I have, the market I have is that I use network marketing, but I also have, the podcast and book and all that sort of stuff. So what if I could write a book about exactly how to show network marketers how to create financial freedom? And that is what I'm going to do because that's part of our brand of having financial freedom as a family. There's a marketplace out there that wants it. I'm going to create an offer that shows people the exact roadmap to creating financial freedom. And I'll show you how to be financially free, even if you've never done this before, even if you're not the top income earner in your company, even if you have absolutely no idea where to start. I can show you that because I'm going to create that offer. So this is really the basis of marketing, and in particular, attraction marketing. This is what we want people to be able to do. This is a process we need to be able to go through for ourselves, who exactly we are, because I'm sure you've heard the adage, and if not, you will hear it, but there's always this sort of adage of everyone has the same products, the same compensation plan, the same corporate thing. Everyone in XYZ company has exactly the same things. So why do people get different results? Why does Fred get better results than John, even if they've got the same products at the same price with the same compensation plan? Because Fred figured out exactly who he was and what he could offer, whereas John just tried to be a bit of everything to everyone. So if you do need help with that, if this is something you do just struggle with as well, just head here, head to andrewlogan.net/attract, download this blueprint for free. Okay, it's a 5-step blueprint. It's going to take you through all the processes you need to do to follow that and actually create that. So you can just download that one for free. Let's move on to skill number 2. So we want to move to the next stage. So we have launched our business. We have active income because we've learned how to sell. We've learned how to go out there and sell the product that is actually going to help people because we know who we are, what the market needs, and how to offer them that process, that vehicle, that solution. We know how to do that. We've figured that out. Now we want to start to create leverage. Step 2 is leverage, because I can only make so many sales. I could only see so many patients as a physio. What if I taught other people? What if I taught other physios how to treat patients? What if I taught other people how to sell? So we want to be able to get this word of duplication. We can only do so much ourselves. We want to create duplication. We want to create leverage, through duplication. So what are the keys here? The 2 key skills are we need to systemize things. We need to have system, tool, process, templates, scripts. Okay, send them this video if you don't know how to do it yet. Send me the video I recorded on how to launch your business in 30 minutes. Show them that video. Okay, let's get you started. Let's get you out there. Let's figure out your offer, your story, your list, your invitation. Let's get you started. We want to show them that process. We're going to systemize it so that new people can come in and just start following the process. Now, the other thing we need to do is we need to show them how to get paid, because people need to see a reward for their actions. So systemization, pretty simple. Hopefully I don't need to spend too much time there. Again, if you're not sure how to do that yet, send them the tools, send them the videos, send them this video, send them the other videos. It's going to help them systemize their business so they can launch as well. Have a team of salespeople out there. But what you will need to do is you'll just need to show them how to get paid. Okay, what is going to happen when you bring in 4 or 5 people? What's going to happen when you bring in a next generation of people, right? Now, again, let's just come back super quickly to this modified cash flow quadrant. Yeah, you can see that. Should have drawn it a little bit bigger. But what we tend to do is we tend to sit here and say, hey, residual income, oh my goodness, like join this as residual income. It's absolutely incredible. But when we talk about the compensation plan, when we show people how to get paid, we have to remember that 95, 98, 99% of people are living here. And most of them don't even know that over here exists. They're so caught up in here in their mindset and their understanding of money that if you tell them stuff over here, it sounds too good to be true. Because if I sat there and I said, oh my goodness, I found a way where 11 years ago I bought some products off a friend and they cost me $500, and now we've earned multiple 7 figures, we've got an 8-figure net worth, it's absolutely incredible, we've been to all these different countries, done all these things around the world, and my wife and I get to sit at home and just watch our children grow up. Does that sound too good to be true? It is true. But what we have to do is make sure that we actually tell the full story. We didn't just buy those $500 worth of products and then money appeared in our bank account, right? We went through a process. We went through a process of our own growth, our own development, and we also went through a compensation plan process. So when people start, let's just talk to them in an active income sense. So you know what? You've just started. That's awesome. You've got a couple of people who want to join you. A couple of people want to get started. If you do X, you will get Y dollars. Let's just start there. Let's just see if they can take the next step. Because if we want to say, hey, come over here and be financially free, the reality is you're going to have to lead a fairly decent sized team. Now, leadership is the next step. We'll talk about that soon. But if you can't bring in 2 people, you probably can't lead a team of 10,000. Let's be honest. If you can't find 2 people to join you just to start, you're going to struggle with those next steps. So let's not overwhelm people. An overwhelmed mind does nothing. Let's just sit here and say, right, first thing, let's see if we can find a couple of people to start with you. And if you bring 2 people, you'll get $300. If you get a couple of people started with you, you can make $500. Let's just tell them that and then see if they can come back and say, you know what, that's awesome. Keep doing that. Keep doing that. For every 2 people who come in, you're going to make this much money. And what if we taught these people how to duplicate as well? Because there's going to be other things. Once they're duplicating, if you've got 10 people doing this, you're going to get Z. There's going to be like Z dollars, because if 10 people are doing X, you get Z plus some other bonuses, all right? Let's work on that. Let's just step them through the process. But too often, we want to tell the whole story, and it's great because it's really exciting. I want to tell the whole story all the time. We've got a pretty exciting story. We've got a pretty awesome story. But why not just say, hey, the brand new person who's never run a business, they've probably never read a business book, they've probably never written goals and set a vision board and all those sorts of things. They've never had someone believe in them. They've never attended a personal development seminar. And we're going to sit there and say, oh my goodness, you could be up on stage with a team of $100,000 in this massive check. Crazy. Too good to be true. What if we just said, you know what? Let me show you how to make $500 tomorrow, and show them that process. How do you do that? With systems, with templates, with tools. Okay? Let me show you how to create your offer. Let me show you how to create your story. Let's write out a list and let's go invite people off that list. Okay? We're going to systemize that. Do they want to go the next step? Do they want to start to, develop their own marketing processes, their own attraction marketing? 100%. Take them through that as well. All right. Who are you? Who do you want to attract? What's an offer we can create to bring all those things together? Let's go through that. You've got a system for that now. You've got a template and a tool, which is this video, that can take people through that now. Just do that and you'll have incredible results going on. However, and this is the most important thing, let's a nice clean sheet of paper for this one. Duplication, leverage will not set you free. Okay, elephant in the room. Duplication and leverage, systems, tools, people say it all the time. It's not what works, it's what duplicates. Show me a system, I'll show you your income. Systems, tools, duplication will make you money, but they will not set you free. We need to turn from leverage to residual. And the problem is they can look quite similar. They can seem quite sort of potato, rugby league versus rugby union, football versus soccer. Like, what are the differences for some people? You know what? There is one particular difference. So if we have leverage, now leverage, one of the great things with leverage is that this industry social media has really helped this industry. The internet, Wi-Fi, smartphones, social media, okay, love them, loathe them. At the end of the day, they're here and they're here to stay, and they have completely changed this industry. Some of you might be old enough to remember this. Some of you probably aren't. But for me, I'm 40 years old now. I remember when I first discovered network marketing back in 2004. 2004, I first discovered network marketing. That's when someone first approached me and told me, drew circles out and talked about residual income and all those sorts of things. Now, the problem was, at the time, it used to cost you money per text message you sent. Some of you younger people probably don't believe that that's possible. But, Gen X are here. Yeah, for every text message you sent, it was like 25 cents. And then if they replied and you'd have to send back, that was another 25 cents. So if there was a meeting at the hotel next weekend, hey, we're meeting at the such and such hotel at 6 p.m. on Thursday night, tell your team, you got to sit there and like, man, that's going to cost me $5 to $10 just to send out those text messages. Now, little thing in a Facebook group, bang, copy and paste message in Messenger, bang, quick Zoom. Hey guys, let's jump on Zoom. Tell you about this event that's coming up. It's incredible. Like, we can reach hundreds of people, thousands of people with the touch of a button. Incredible. Social media produced an incredible ability for us to make massive leverage in our team in a way that we couldn't years and years ago and decades ago. You couldn't create the leverage and the duplication because we didn't have the technology. We have the technology now, and that's amazing. It's allowed network marketing to really explode. But it's not residual income, okay? So here's the difference. Duplication, systems, tools create followers. Leadership is when you have people who aren't following, who have branched off and done it their own way. But it's when people branch off that you get the residual income. When you have followers, you make money, but what happens when you stop? So do your followers. When you stop running the Zoom, people stop showing up, they stop doing the work. So you could have 1,000 people on a Zoom, or you could have 10 leaders running their own Zooms with 100 people each. 1,000 people on my Zoom is great leverage, great duplication. 10 leaders running their own 100-person Zoom is great residual because I don't need to be there. I can be anywhere in the world. These 10 leaders are running their own teams. Now, they're all going to run them slightly differently. They're going to do their Zoom calls at different times, in different ways, with different techniques. So you can use different words. But that's the point. That's the whole thing. It is like raising children a little bit. You can have children here for so long and you can give them, you can give them advice and you can give them wisdom and you can give them experience and you can hopefully mold them into certain ways with certain values. But at the end of the day, you also want them to leave home. The goal is that they go out and they create their own personas, their own lives. They marry and have their own children. That's what we want. We don't want them still living upstairs at home forever, right? That's not what I want. That's bad parenting. If our kids are still here at 30 because they can't possibly leave home because they're so dependent on us, they're not independent, we haven't done our job as parents. And this is the same in this industry. If you want dependent followers, just focus on the first two steps. If you want independent leaders, we need to go one more step. Now, this step is the most important when it comes to crossing that bridge. So we're going to spend a little bit of time here. But if we want residual, okay, which is really cool, it comes from leadership. Now, with that, we need to do a couple of things. The first skill is how to identify. Oh, sorry, terrible spelling. We need to identify the leaders, and I'll get back to that in a sec. The second thing is we need to mentor them. Now let's just focus on the mentorship because the identify, we need a new sheet of paper. So mentorship, I want you to think about tactics versus fundamentals. So fundamentals are what we talked about earlier, where it's like, find out who you are, find out what your market wants, and then create an offer that is interesting for them. A tactic would be, hey, send this exact message to your team. Now, a tactic is something that people can follow. It's going to have a small amount of results. It's very easy. Here, just copy and paste this message. A fundamental is understand who you are and understand what your market wants. Okay. Tactics, we come back to social media. The tactic 10 years ago was to start a Facebook page, Andrew and Angie's network marketing page, and then you invite all your friends and then you spam it. And it worked. It was pretty ugly, but it worked. We just spam products on our page and people would eventually sign up, just sheer numbers. And then Instagram came along and we had to get a bit better. And then there was this, 2 minutes when Periscope was a thing. I was chatting to a guy just last night. He built up hundreds of thousands of people on Periscope, disappeared. He had a great tactic there for a while, but because he was a marketing guru, he knew what he was talking about. He knew the fundamentals. Where were people moving? All right, Facebook Live. Okay, Clubhouse. Again, Clubhouse didn't stick around too long. Right now, I'm recording this video, it is all about Reels. Reels are where all the eyeballs are. Reels are where all the attention is, okay? Facebook pages did work. They probably don't work anymore. Reels work really well now. However, again, just saying, hey, I'm doing Reels isn't that important. It's about the fundamentals of what's my Reel about? Who am I actually attracting? What do I want to say to them? How do I provide value through this Reel? What are the fundamentals so that I can go out and create using this new tactic? Oscar Wilde, I love Oscar Wilde, and he had that great quote that fashion is something so hideously ugly that we have to change it every few months. Okay, fashion is always changing. You have people with style, people with grace, people who know who they are, and they don't have to follow the fashion trend because they have their own style. Now, when you have a leader, you need to teach them the fundamentals. Now, they're going to go off and create their own tactics. They're going to go like a child and maybe ride down the hill when you said, no, don't ride down that hill because you'll break your arm. And they still go out and they still ride down the hill and they still break their arm. But you've got to let them, right? You've got to let them go through that own process until they find their own tactics. But you still teach them how to ride the bike. You teach them the fundamental so that they can go out and create their own tactics and their own team in their own personas about them. So for Angie and I, again, it is about family, but we have other leaders in our team who aren't families. So they can't follow exactly what we do, and they can't copy and paste our posts. They can't have the conversations that we have with other families. So we mentor them to create their own tactics, their own brand, their own persona. And that's why we do need to make sure that we don't skip levels 1 and 2, because you can't lead if you don't know how to lead. You can't show someone the way if you don't know the way and you haven't gone the way. And so steps 1 and 2 are your apprenticeship. You need to make sure that you do your own apprenticeship. And yes, show me the money, get us there as soon as possible. I get it, 1,000%. I get it. But hey, if I didn't do my apprenticeship, we wouldn't be here today. If I didn't go through those challenges, if I didn't learn the skills, I wouldn't be able to teach the skills. We wouldn't be able to show the next generation of people how to do this because we hadn't gone about doing the skills ourselves. So steps 1 and 2, as much as we want to just rush through them, they're also part of your apprenticeship. You have to go the way so that you know the way so that you can show the way. Okay? So let's talk about how we identify, because this is important. And then step 4 is actually quite easy. So we can sort of, don't worry. You're not going to be here forever. Don't worry. I promise we'll be showing you exactly the final steps very, very quickly, and it will all come together. Now, what we want to do is we want to look at your business like a funnel, okay? Now, funnels are obviously, there's computer software, but it's about the mindset of a funnel, okay? And we want to think of everything in life we sort of filter through a funnel. There's all the information that we consume each day, and then there's a small amount that actually sort of comes in and we take it like we're aware of, we focus on, I should say, and we remember, okay? For all the things out there, there's only a small amount of stuff that we actually remember. Now, you want to think again, like if you went to school, for all the people you went to school with, it's only going to be a small number of people that you really were best friends with, you continue to have contact with, you continue to chat with. At the end of the day, a small number of people. You're going to have the people that you never really spoke to. You just kind of went to the same school and you said hello and you had to sit next to them every now and then in class. You're going to have the decent friends that you went to their birthday parties. You're going to have the really good friends that you sat with every day at lunch. And then you're going to have a couple of best friends, okay? The gym I go to, there's people, I go to this gym and I've been going to this gym for 10 years now. There's people in the 10 years we've never had more than a hello, how you doing conversation. Lovely people, but we just don't have the common ground. Then there's the friends who, we are friends on social media. We comment on each other's posts. We kind of get together at training. We might go out for breakfast afterwards. Then there's the small group of people who we watch footy games together. We chat all the time. We have a message thread where we talk about the games and we talk about what's going on in our life. And then there's a couple of best friends where, my son and their sons play football together as well. Leon's daughter and our daughter, they're best friends, right? We have this best friends at the bottom of the funnel. Now, your team is going to look the same. Now, for the team, the most important thing is this Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule. Understanding this 80-20 rule, because this is everything. This is so important, okay? This is a rule of human nature. Now, it's easy to sit there and say, oh, it's different in here. Like, this is different. Our team's different. We got different setups. This isn't about team. This isn't about product. This isn't about anything else except for the fact that human nature, you put enough humans in one room and they will be drastically highly predictable. A single person, very unpredictable. 100 people in a room, incredibly highly predictable. So what we need to do is we just need to understand that our team is going to follow this 80-20 rule. So from a business point of view, from a leadership point of view, 80% of your team will never do anything to do with leadership. They'll never have anything to do with your business. They will not be interested. That doesn't mean that they can't be great customers, that they can't be, great walking billboards for your business, anything like that. But the reality is 80% of the people will never have anything to do with your business. Now, we've had customers who've been with us for 11 plus years now, and they order every single month for 11 years. They've never once said, how do I get these things at a discount? Well, what's this event that you go to? They've never once asked, right? And you also will have people who use the product for one day and, oh, I didn't lose 10 kilograms in one day. It sucks. I'm out. And they leave, right? There's going to be that whole, gamut of people in that 80%, right? From a leadership point of view, what do? We give them systems, okay? Systems to use the products. Here you are as a product user, as a customer, as a consumer. What I want you to do is just watch this video, follow this timetable that we've set up, check out this sort of 5-point PDF. You will probably get great results. And then when you want to reorder next month, just go to this website and that's where you get your order. Here's your username and password. So here we have systems to follow. Now we've got 20% left here. Now that 20% will break up into another 80-20 rule. So 80% of the 20%, which is 16%, okay, 80% of the remaining 20% will do a little bit. They'll dabble. Okay. So the fair weather fans, they'll bring in their mum, they'll bring in their husband, they'll bring in the friend. They might bring a handful of people. They might jump on the calls. They might jump on the Zooms. They might attend events. But they're really at the event for the culture, the community. This is part of their church, essentially. This is where they go to congregate and meet with other people like them. And they go there and they dabble and they're interested, but they're not committed, okay? They're interested in learning how to get paid, but they just don't really want to create a social media brand. They're interested in learning more about the income, but they don't want to message people and bother them because I don't want to be annoying, right? So they're going to do a little bit. Now, again, what do? We give them systems and tools to duplicate. You know what? When you are ready to reach out to people, here's your little template to create your offer. Here's how you create your list. Just go out after you've been to an event, you're all excited, you're all pumped up. Go out there, message these people. Here's your template. Here's your script, okay? I'm going to give you that system. Do you want to jump on our Zoom calls? Yeah, jump on our Zoom calls, okay? But they're not going to put their hand up. They're not going to contribute, right? They're going to be more just sort of wallflower passive. And that is totally okay. Again, that is totally okay. We love and respect them. We love and respect these guys. We love and respect them. We just understand the numbers, okay? Jim Rohn says, this is, on this earth, we're a guest. These are the rules of earth. So let's just follow them. Let's not try and get an apple tree to give us pears. Let's just say, okay, I get apples over here and I'm going to go over here to find my pears. It's that simple. Not easy, but it is that simple. Now we've got 4% left, okay? But you do not get 4% leaders. We're going to break that 4% up into another 80-20 rule. So we're going to have 3.2% here. And these are our builders. Okay? Builders. So these people are committed. They are committed that they get to every event. They are committed that they get on every call. They are committed that they're out there regularly talking to people. I talk to these as like sort of part-time employees versus full-time employees. They show up all the time. They show up every week. They're there and they are committed and they're out there building. However, they still can't think for themselves. They still can't sit there and say, okay, I've come up with a problem. What do? They come up with a problem. They message you. And that's totally okay, again, because they're great builders. They're just not independent enough, or they don't desire for independence. It's been a long time now since I was in small business, but when I started in small business and I had this, great physio practice, I had a great business partnership, and we would hire staff. And for all the staff, we have staff who still to this day work in the practice, and they're incredible. They show up every single day, Monday to Friday. They show up on time. They leave late because they put in extra effort. But they've never once asked for a leadership role. They've never once said, can I buy into the business? Can I become a partner? They come in, they do their work, and they leave. And that's what suits their goals. Now, one of the challenges you always used to have in small business, one of the challenges I had was because I'm a weirdo, because I'm entrepreneurial, I am in this micro small percent. And if you're watching this video, you're probably in the micro small percent. We've got to understand that we're the weirdos, right? Most people are happy doing other things. Most people don't want to do what we do. Most people are happy saying, just show me the systems, show me the tools, and I will follow. Builders are great. They're just greater followers. They're more committed followers. For me in small business, it was like, I want to surround myself with all these great people. But if you brought really great people in, they'd say, okay, well, here I am, give me a partnership. I'm like, oh, I can't. Like, I can't give, I just can't. It's a small business. We don't have that opportunity. In this network marketing industry, in this business, we can give people all the opportunities out there, right? We've just got to identify the correct people. So the little 0.8% left, our leaders, okay, the key is that we get them out of the funnel. We don't just keep pushing them through and say, hey, just keep watching the videos, keep following the systems, keep jumping on the team calls, keep getting to the events. We don't do that. We get them out of the system and we mentor them one-to-one. Because remember, all of these people are following these people one-on-one mentorship, like we talked about before. So the key is identification of the people who want to think differently. Understand the numbers, understand the process, and you have to have a way to identify them. Now, there's lots of different things you can do, and there's no perfect system here. The key is really understanding. When you have someone who's like, you know what, just tell me what to do, just tell me what to do, just tell me what to do, they're probably not your next great leader. And as much as we want it for them, as much as we desire to have them be this great leader, if they're not stepping up and thinking for themselves and showing some responsibility, then they can't be a leader. Leadership is about responsibility, authenticity, communication skills, being reliable. It's such a big thing. So with our leaders, what we want to do is we just want to give them little tests and just see how reliable they are. Ask them to, hey, can you take care of the Zoom call next week? And see how they go. And if they just try and get out of it, or they crash and burn, they're unprepared or anything like that, okay, lesson learned, it's probably not right for them right now. The leader is going to be prepared because they've been waiting for this moment. Oh my goodness, Andrew's given me the opportunity to step up and lead. And they're ready, and they've got a script, and they've got an idea of what they're going to do for the Zoom call. We used to give people books. So they'd hit certain ranks, and we'd give them a book. And then a week or two later, I'd say, hey, did you like the book? And it was always fascinating because the leaders read it. What's next? What's next? What's the next book? I loved it. I've already bought their sequel book. The sort of builders, oh, yeah, I'm at sort of chapter 2. The dabblers, oh, it's on my shelf. I haven't opened it yet. Or they just lie. Oh, it was amazing. Like, what was your favorite bit? All of it. Okay, maybe you didn't read it. And that's okay. We're not kicking them out of the team. We're not calling them out. We're not standing them up on stage and you're terrible, you lied, all that kind of stuff. We're just saying, you know what? They're not ready for leadership just yet, and that is totally okay. But the leaders, they're always asking, what's next? What's next? What's next? What's next? So final one. There's lots of ideas, as I said. Another thing we do with our team a lot, people who say, I want to learn more, I want to step up, I want to grow more, we say, great, book a Zoom call. Let's book a Zoom call. Write out your goals, write out your vision. Okay, we'd send them a little PDF with like, what are your goals? What are your skills? What are some of the weaknesses you want to work on? How much do you want to earn? And how many hours a week are you committed to this? So just 5 simple questions. Just fill that out so we get an idea of where you're at, what you want to achieve. Once you've filled it out, just come in and book a Zoom call. The leaders book it that night. They've booked it for tomorrow morning. Excuse me, the builders, you remind them a week later, hey, have you filled out your form? Oh, yep, getting to it today. I'll book the call next week. The dabblers, you never hear from them. And that's okay. That's okay. I'm going to love and respect you. Just plug into the Facebook group, just plug into the calls, plug into the videos, plug into the events, bring whoever you can. I'd love it if you can just bring 2 or 3 people. And here, remember, there could be 100 dabblers. If 100 dabblers brought 3 people each because you set them up with a script, there's 300 new people in your team. And one of those 300, 2 maybe, by percentage-wise, 2 of those people might end up being the leader. And the leader is just going to jump past their sponsor and up to you because they're going to see you being the leader. And that's the biggest key. The biggest key in all of this is really when we talk about identification, how do you identify them? How do they identify you is a better question. If you step up, if you're leading, if you're growing, if you're developing, if you're innovating, if you're showing great mindsets, great commitment, great effort to bettering yourself, to learning the skills, to knowing the way and going the way so that you can show the way, they will see that and they'll identify you. People are always like, how do I find leaders? And I say, no, how do leaders find you? Ask that question. How does someone 2, 3, 4, 5 levels deep identify you? Ask yourself that question every day and you'll have incredible success. All right, final step. Step 4. We want to create that wealth loop, right? So if we come back to my story right at the start, it's like, okay, we've got the cash flow now, we're profitable. Now you can, and I should say this because this is really important, if everything I just spoke about in leadership there scared you, if it overwhelmed you, do not worry, okay? Do not be upset. Do not, it is totally okay if you aren't ready to step up to leadership yet. You can still create great income in level 2, okay? You can still duplicate and get a lot of money, and then we just come into that passive income from the other side. We cross the bridge from underneath the quadrant rather than going up into residual and down into passive. You've just got to say, you know what, maybe residual income isn't for me, maybe leadership isn't for me, but that is totally okay. I can still create a great income, and then I can come here to step 4 and invest and start creating my own wealth loop. I've got my income producing asset, I've got my cash flow producing business, and I'm going to use that to create great wealth for my family. So the last thing we want to do is we need to learn how to put our money to work so that we can earn passive income, because that is the key to freedom. Passive income is the key to freedom. Now, in this situation, obviously, it's really hard to sit there and give any kind of business advice, because that would be dangerous. It would be very dangerous in a video like this to give any kind of personalized advice. So what are the 2 key skills when you need to learn to invest so you can put your money to work, so you can create this little, wealth loop over here? Well, the first thing is you need to learn and study what is the correct vehicle for you. Now, Angie and I, we are very property heavy. We are property focused in our investment, but that's what works for us. Our investment strategy is something we've developed over time through our own education, through our own development, but we don't try and sort of put it out there to others because it's what works for us, okay? You've got to find the vehicle that's best for you. I like to talk about, I don't have a coin here, but I like to talk about, the 2 sides of the coin, essentially, where how to make money and how to invest it, how to get your money to make money. There's 2 sides to this wealth coin. There's also 360 different ways to enter the coin, right? So if we're going to sit here and say, all right, I'm on this side and I want to flip over onto the other side, there's 360, there's an infinite way, really. If we're really going to get into nerdy maths, there's an infinite number of ways that you can go and say, all right, I'm going to start investing. It's about what's the best investment for you. What's the best investment for you to get incredible results for the goals that you have? So what you need to do is you need to ask yourself these 3 questions. Am I investing for cash flow or capital gains? Now, if you don't know the answer to these questions, we need to educate ourselves, okay? So first step is education. First step is understanding the difference. Very quickly, if I buy a house, the capital gains is the growth in the value of the house. I buy it for $700,000, I sell it for $1 million, the capital gains was $300,000, okay? The cash flow is if I bought the house for $700,000, it cost me $700 a week in interest and bank payments, etc., and the rent was $800 a week. The cash flow is $800 positive because the rent minus the expenses equals the cash flow. So are you investing for capital gains or cash flow? Pros and cons to both. It's up to you. You need to find out what's best for your goals. If you buy land, you're probably banking for capital gains. There's zero cash flow in just buying land. Again, with stocks, some stocks give dividends, other stocks don't. So are you buying stocks for the dividends, the cash flow, the money that comes in each, every quarter or a couple of times a year? Or are you buying stocks where you say, look, this is a company that I believe in and I'm just going to buy it and I'm going to put it in the bottom drawer. Let's talk about, bottom drawer trading, where you just say, well, Commonwealth Bank, that's a company that's going to be around in 100 years. So I'm just going to buy it and I'm going to leave it for my grandchildren and hopefully it will be worth more in 100 years' time, right? That's a capital gains strategy. What's best for you depends on whether you're actually here for capital gains or cash flow. Option number 2, are you here for short-term or long-term? So again, if you're buying Commonwealth Bank shares for 100 years, that's a long-term strategy. If you want to buy something for the next 3 to 5 years, something to put away now, our daughter's in grade 11, are we just investing for her university in 2 years' time? I'm not going to buy land to then sell in 18 months' time because the expenses, by the time you go through the rigmarole, the paperwork, the expenses, there's just not going to be the growth in 18 months' time for her university degree, right? So what we need to understand is what's the actual time frame that we're looking for, and we go through that process. Finally, are you active or passive? So are you actively involved in the investment, or are you passively involved? For us, we want passive. Okay, we don't want anything to do with it. I'm going to put my time and effort into finding the house. I'm going to put my time and effort into these videos, into our team, into our growth. I don't want to know anything about tenants and all that kind of stuff. I want to buy the house. I want to have a rental manager in place. They get the tenants, they put them in place, and we don't think about it. I am terrible with a hammer and a saw, like terrible, absolutely terrible. Angie's quite talented. She actually built this table, and her family is a builder background, the Coopers, all that sort of stuff. She's quite handy, but she's also, we're very busy. And a bigger priority for us is the kids. If we do have spare time, it's about family time, it's about holidays. So we're not going to get into residential, renovations or flipping or anything like that, because we would have to be there. If we're going to buy to renovate, we're the ones there, again, with a hammer and a saw and digging up carpet and painting. And I don't know how to do that. I suck at it. So I'm not going to go into these active investment strategies. That's not to say right or wrong. It's just, what are you doing? Again, if you want to be active into, like trading strategies, you're looking at more short term, you're looking at more sort of, like capital growth chunks. Okay. There are strategies that you can use in markets and commodities and currencies and stuff like that. It's not advice. Okay. This is not advice. This is not right or wrong. This is just, you need to find what's right for you, the right vehicle for you. And then the last one is you need to manage your emotions. In particular, patience. And one of the biggest misnomers, one of the biggest misconceptions here is that this is really the key. This is the key. This is about 10% of the challenge. This is 90% of the challenge, okay? You need to find the right vehicle for you, of course, okay? Property for us, 1000%, right? But we need to ride up and down with the emotions. There was a property boom recently. There's probably going to be at least correction. There's going to be at least a sneeze in the market. Okay, let's ride our emotions here. Do we panic and sell? Do we sit there and take in the emotions? Okay, especially more in stocks, because stocks move more with day-to-day price movements and even intraday price movements. Your management of your emotions is so important, so incredibly important. So make sure you do that. Make sure you go through this process of developing yourself. For every hour that you spend watching a video on techniques and tools and strategies, spend an hour at least on your emotions, on your personal development. For every dollar you invest into a property or stocks, make sure you're investing an equivalent amount of value into your own self, into your own personal money management strategy, all those sorts of things. Because if you don't do that, then you can make all the money in the world if you don't have, there's the old saying, if you come across $1 million, make sure you're a millionaire first. You better become a millionaire very quickly. You become a millionaire in how you control money and think about money. The $1 million comes into your life and you don't have a millionaire mindset, you will find a way to lose that $1 million. I'm sure we've all seen that happen too many times. Unfortunately, we know those stories. However, that is everything we have for you. That is everything we have for you today as far as getting through the process of exactly what to do. Now, again, this video goes through it a lot. I just want to show you as well. We've got it all in a little blueprint as well. Just pop that little thing up on the screen. So this will take you through all of those steps. Again, you can just go and download that blueprint. It will take you through this whole process, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, the key skills, the key skills to sort of focus on, the key things that will help make sure that you get up to the level 3 and level 4. And again, if level 3 does overwhelm you, it's okay to just come through level 2. Know that you're not in leadership, know that you're not in residual income, but that's totally okay. You can make a lot of money following someone else's systems. Just know that, accept it, totally own it, 1000%, and then say, righto, I'm still going to create financial freedom through this incredible vehicle. And that's why I love teaching this, because we can show you don't have to be that great person up on stage. You don't have to be leading a team of 100,000. You don't have to be the top income earner in your industry, or in your company, I should say. You just have to be someone who understands how to turn your cash flow into wealth. And if you can do that, you will have financial freedom. So I hope this video has helped. I hope, as always, it's gotten you through like a great mindset of how to go through this process. It's given you the key skills, the key mindsets to focus on. And if you can do that, you will have amazing success. Let me know if I can help in any other way. As always, just shoot a message out or anything like that, and I'll do what I can to help you. Otherwise, thank you for watching the video, and I'm sure we'll see you again soon.